start this. So I'm at school. Uh, I will probably mute and turn my camera off when I need to move locations, but otherwise we should be good. I will keep track of everything else.
Okay. All right, so we will call the meet. Oh, wait, I guess we have to wait a minute, huh?
Yes, you should. Yes. Sorry. I can't see the clock too.
My bad. I'm so jazzed about our meeting. I'm trying to jump the gun early here, and I apologize.
I'm like balancing this on my knee. This is not a great setup, but yes, wait till 6:30.
Yeah.
Tom knows where I am.
Tom's got horns tonight.
Ding, it's 6:30.
Okay, 6:30. I will. Good evening, everybody. I will call the June meeting of the Dover Trails and Recreation Committee to order at 6:30 p.m. I will open the meeting with public comments.
Okay, so
Hold on.
Sorry,
Mr. Garber, do you have a public comment?
I have a public comment. Do I have to raise my hand?
Perfect. Mr. Garber, what would you like to discuss tonight?
So I'd like to discuss the ongoing process of how to get permission from the town to work on town trails.
Okay.
And that's with or without funding.
Yep.
Well, as it was in the past, if you needed funding, you could ask for up to $10,000 and the town could possibly give you that money to work on its trails. I don't know if that's the case anymore. Is that still the case, or does it go out to bid, or is there a different number involved? I mean, where do we stand?
So I was in the process of trying to get a lot of that together. We got a little sidetracked with some other projects and things like that, but it is still on my list to come up with. So the standard throughout all of the other departments in town is that anything over $5,000 goes out to bid. For the sake of transparency, continuity, and things like that, I am leaning towards, obviously we would have a discussion about it here in this group, and then it would go in front of the select board for final approval. But I'm leaning towards that $5,000 cutoff, anything over that going out to bid. And I think that that's just the fair and honest way to do things. That being said, anybody can bid, right? But I just, over that dollar threshold, like we don't want to get ourselves into a situation again where it's like, well, why did this group just get $10,000 to do what they want? Because I don't think people were super warm and fuzzy on that. So the process for anything on Dover town land or with Dover funds will go through that Trails and Rec process, Doc.
Okay, and then just tell me, when there are no funds being exchanged, how does the process work in that case?
Well, it's still, like I said, if it's on town land or we still need to get approval from the board for you to do work on town owned land. So that's why the process is what it is. So it's, if you're on town property and or are getting funding from the town to complete a project, you need to go through the process.
The process being fill out the form that you came up with.
Yes, fill out the project application, and yes, it would be the same thing you filled out last year for your other project, but this is considered a new project, thus a new process, Doc, a new approval from the select board.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Awesome. Mike, if you have any other questions on that, don't hesitate to reach out. You know where to find me.
Yes.
All right. Any other public comments? Love it. Additions or changes to the agenda tonight? I have none. A lot of shaking heads. Perfect. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the April 11th meeting?
Can I just, before we go to approve the minutes, I just looked at them. I'm sorry. I was at the meeting, only I attended late. I don't know if you got me, Shannon, but I was there on April 12th or whatever.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I was late, so.
Okay. So you can vote with us on those minutes. Do I have a motion?
Which will be amended to show her attendance.
Yes.
I
So
motion
let's
to
make a
approve.
motion. The motion will be, the minutes will be approved.
With the amendment
With
to
the
reflect
amendment.
Julia's attendance.
Correct. Can I have
Thank
that
you.
motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, Sarah moves, Julia seconds. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Okay, so just some, we don't have a huge agenda tonight, so I just want to give you guys some brief updates. If you have questions, ask them. If not, we'll keep this thing moving along, okay? So Horace Hill, last we had spoke, we had finalized who we were going to be going with out of those RFPs. We decided to go with Sinuosity and Towas trails for the biking and hiking trails. And we decided to go with Avery Jenkins at Disc Golf Park, who would be working in conjunction with Chris Young, who owns Disc Golf Vermont, on the installation of the disc golf course on the property. Since we last spoke, we've spent a large amount of time on property with Chris, Avery, Maura, and Brooke, and tentative designs all put together. New project review sheet submitted to Act 250 with a confirmation that no Act 250 permits are required for the work that we're going to be doing there. Did spit out 2 permits we expected to have to go through, which were stormwater and wetlands. Okay, stormwater has already been submitted and returned. We are all approved for that. Wetlands, we are we actually walked the property with our friend Rebecca Chalmers from State Wetlands 2 weeks ago, who's recommended that for the lower section at the entrance where we're going to be, kind of reclaiming some trail there, and there will be some disc golf holes going in and some resurfaced trail there. She said, yeah, if it's not a wetland, it's at least hydric soils. Let's get this get somebody to take a look at this for us, and we can delineate and then pull the permit. There will be no issues, in doing what we want to do there. It's just that we need to have them delineate that wetland and pull the permit to do it. Right. So Tuesday night, I'm going in front of the board to present a plan to move forward with a company called Arrowwood out of northern Vermont. Instead of waiting for State Wetlands to come in and help us do this, we're gonna pay this company Arrowwood to come in and delineate the wetland for us. At that point, they're able to form the permit and submit on our behalf, so that this is what they do, right? So they fast track this through wetlands for us to make sure that we keep things on schedule. That being said, Rebecca looked above the road. Everybody who's familiar with the property, there's the old log road in the center there. Everything above or to the west of that road, she was completely happy with us moving forward with what we have planned, because it's, she's not seeing the hydric soils and the wetland evidence up above that road. She was totally happy with us moving forward with that. So while we wait for our permit on just that lower section, the entrance section, we can absolutely keep the project moving through the summer with those guys. They can be working on everything that's going to be installed on the upper half. And then once that permit is pulled, in the next month and a half or so, they can finalize the entrance there. So it's really just that first section that you're talking about for the wetlands delineation. That original lower loop is really remaining the same. Bridges have been repaired and added just to make that a little easier to traverse. But other than that, we're making no additional changes to the course or tread of that original loop trail down there on the bottom. That Steve and our friends at SoBTA had helped us with when we purchased the property. So that'll remain. The only resurface piece on that lower part will be that entrance trail, getting us up to that middle split road, and all the trails break off from there. Yeah, so we're moving right along there, and everything's, like I said, we got the permits, but we knew that those permits were going to be something we had to take a look at, especially if you've been in that lower section there, it's pretty wet. Even when it's dry, it's wet, right? So we knew that we were going to have to take a look at wetlands, but after our discussion with Rebecca, it's really not going to be an issue, and we can keep the project moving forward regardless. Okay, that's my update on Horace Hill. Who has questions for me? Mr. Garber.
So I couldn't help but notice that you said hiking, biking, and disc golf. Is there any reason you left out the snowmobile trail?
Sorry, I was talking summer use. Obviously, the snowmobile trail is on the property, will be upgraded, but yes, the snowmobile trail does exist on the property and will be, made a bit easier per the request of the stump jumpers.
So the snowmobile trail also obviously runs through the lower half of the property.
Correct, but that's winter use, and it's not a situation where, that'll all be part of the delineation that they do, but they're not as concerned with the winter use stuff because it's low impact. You guys are on top of snow.
That's a beautiful thing. So it's funny that you say summer versus winter. What's the probability that any of this work, what's the probability that any of the hiking and or biking trails are built this summer?
They're all going to be built this summer.
Are they going to be built for being used this summer? Like, are they?
Probably not, right? So like it was part of the plan to have the implementation run through this summer and into the fall. I mean, they would be walkable, obviously, but we won't be doing our grand opening there until we have a snowfall, let it sit for the winter, and then we'll open, we'll do a grand opening in the spring for full usage.
Okay, and the reason I ask that is, what about the snowmobile trail? Will that be able to be used this winter?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we're expecting work to be done this summer and completed by the fall, so we can upgrade it going into
That's literally why we've been fast tracking all these permits and spending so much time on the property, is to keep the project moving. We're not going to let it stall and end up not having, meeting our deadlines, or letting obviously we need to let you guys use that snowmobile trail. It's important. So we have deadlines on these things for a reason, and we're sticking to them and we're hitting them. That's, that was the goal. Permits or not, like I said, we're cooking along here. We're in really good shape. The shovels are going to go on the ground on that upper half, very shortly.
And any help you need from us, as far as just to talk about the trail or anything your guys need, just reach out.
Yeah, they'll be on property full time a lot more here in the next right towards the end of June, I think, is when they're heavy on installation. So they'll be on property. I'm sure there will be plenty of time for conversations there. Come down, I'll introduce you to Brooke and you guys can talk about the snowmobile trail. Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions on Horace Hill? Tommy? Oh.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I think it's an important conversation for the maintenance ongoing of this project. It's a great project. What is the plan for maintenance? And who is is the town going to be maintaining these trails moving forward to keep them in good shape?
Yeah, so I mean, we haven't had an opportunity to speak to, on this topic, as the town and SOBTA, and whether or not you guys had interest in, being part of the maintenance process. We do have a line item in our budget for trails maintenance. If it's something that requires, us to pay to get it taken care of, we have a budget for that. And then also, if it's not something that SOBTA is interested in, maintaining after the fact, then, we would obviously be maintaining it ourselves. We're not going to spend a couple $100,000 and let it fall apart, right? Like that's not in our plan. We would utilize all of our local volunteers, whether that be SOBTA or outside, like there's plenty of people who definitely want to help. So we're open to all of that. I know we haven't had a specific conversation about that. We can absolutely do that. I know we've been tied up in some other things. So we can have that talk, but no, there's a plan in place. We have money in place should we need it, but there's definitely going to be, upkeep on the trails.
Okay. And I just, I think whether it's with SOBTA, if that's something the town's interested in, a different group, or if the town's going to take care of it on their own, just speaking from experience, pretty quickly after these trails are built, they need maintenance. So, for forecasting and whatever organization, making sure they have the capacity and the bandwidth to do that. That's probably, just in my opinion, an important conversation probably now, or sooner than later. So I would just, again, I defer to what the town's looking to do. But that's probably an important conversation to have soon.
Yep. Totally get it. Appreciate that. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments on Horace Hill? All right. It's exciting, right? We spent a lot of time talking and arguing and crying and lots of things for a couple of years, right? To get everything where we are now. And it's exciting that we're at a point where I think, you know, we're gonna get, like I said, we'll get those shovels in the ground and we're gonna have something that's gonna be really awesome. And it's something that I think will be a major draw, you know, once it's finished. So we're really excited about it. All right. Anything else on Horace Hill before we move on? Perfect. Anybody who has questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Ridge parking lot update. So this is not this is literally just me telling you that we're moving forward with putting a couple of spaces on the town right of way and the easement owned by Jacob. Well, the easement we own from Jacob Brown at the southern end of the parking lot, proposed parking lot. So we're going to be putting in a few spaces there. Travis was just waiting. Our road commissioner was just waiting for some precasts to get those in there. We're just going to get a couple of spots in for now to get cars off of the road while everybody's working up in the woods. That is my update on the Ridge project parking lot. Any additional questions there? Julia.
So when is the couple of spots expected to be started and finished?
We were literally just waiting on the precast. So I mean, they could start anytime. It would be done in a matter of days. They're quick.
Okay.
You saw how fast the parking lot went, you know, got extended up at the town forest. I mean, they move with the quickness. Julia, again.
And then the follow-on question, but then will the folks start the work on the trails shortly thereafter? Have they already started it?
That's an extended conversation. And I think the only update that I wanted to give tonight is, you know, on these couple of spots going in. Tommy, did you have an update on? I mean, you could just tell, like, the RFP's up with the state. You guys are working with them on that piece, right?
Yeah, the RFP went through a few rounds, and the final round is sitting with the forest ranger. So we are, you know, I'll probably check in on that politely, you know, next week at some point. But yeah, we're waiting on an RFP to come back.
Okay, Julia, good. Mike.
Yeah, Tom, so it's a new interim ranger, right?
Not an interim ranger. Casey Merritt has been the ranger.
No, Casey's
full-time.
not the ranger. Casey's the recreation specialist. Who's the ranger?
So I'm dealing with Casey. That's
Okay,
that's
but there's, right.
the Forest
but-
Service.
Right, but there's
Martina Barnes may be the ranger, or Holly.
no, I thought Martina's out and there's a new one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know, Mike, because that's not who I've been instructed to deal with.
Yeah.
You probably know more than me.
Yeah, I'm just asking because, and you know, pointing out for folks with expectations that every time they change a ranger or they have an interim ranger, there's like this huge pause, and hopefully this new interim ranger will, you know, have the nerve to like move forward, or instead of deferring to the new resident ranger. I'm just saying that's just been my experience with the Forest Service. So I don't envy you any decisions in the process, you know, because all these people are so new. It can be maddening. But I should point that out to everyone else. It's not, you know, your guys not fault, but I mean, you guys have some hurdles that aren't really apparent to anyone who hasn't worked with the Forest Service. So good luck. I mean, good luck. Yeah.
Awesome. Patricia.
So, the last that I had heard, it was just in the article last week, the big one about Act 250 and all of that. Has that been resolved? You know, with the 3 different sections and the back and forth?
Yeah, I think we left that meeting. Tommy, if you don't mind, I'm just gonna start and then you can answer after.
Sure.
Okay. No, so I think we left that meeting with the understanding that Casey had relayed to Tom. You know, everybody read the article, right? So there was some confusion about things that happened previously. You know, like Mike said, there's new players in the game. I don't think, you know, like whatever was agreed to previously maybe didn't come through in translation to what's happening now. So, you know, Casey had relayed to Tom after seeing the new map that like it doesn't seem to be an incredibly heavy lift. We just would probably have to pull a permit, you know, or permission from them to use that middle section. Tommy, go ahead and add whatever.
Yeah, I mean, as we're the Trails Committee, probably important to sum up so everyone's on the same page and understands kind of what that conversation was about. But, you know, basically I raised a question on, you know, we have these two easements, and it's really a great lot. One from Jacob Brown and one from Bears Crossing. Then in dead center of there, it seemed that the Somerset IRP included, you know, this very small tract of land in between to be a part of that. You know, there was a few things on the Somerset IRP that different organizations thought were part of that. They had conversations for years and years. And I just raised the question on, you know, whether or not we were sure that we had permission from the Forest Service to in fact go ahead and build on that. You know, it seemed like the general consensus within you know, the groups working together on this was that yes, we did. The Forest Service came back and said no, we don't. However, they did provide a path forward through a special use permit that you know, I thought might make sense to go ahead and apply for, as you know, for the future term of this project, which, you know, Mike Purcell just pointed out takes a long time to really do anything. You know, we're going to need that. We're going to need that full lot. So that's what that article was about, and that's what the select board meeting, the conversation that I was involved in, the agenda item. That was the main discussion.
So yeah, basically, Tommy, thank you for the recap. But I mean, really, the update that I was giving tonight is literally only on those spots that we are absolutely putting in the immediate future. The rest of this conversation has yet to be had, right? We still have a lot of talking to do and a lot of paperwork to probably fill out to make all that stuff happen. So we'll continue updating you on those things as they happen. But this update was literally just about those spots. Tommy.
Yep. I just one more question from me on that. So, you know, the Jacob Brown lot looks like we're all good to go. It was slightly unclear for the Bears Crossing lot. I think there's a little bit of a discussion at the board meeting around what was an architectural review, not architectural, landscaping review. What was that piece consisting of?
So we have signed easements from both of those, you know, from Bears Crossing and from Jacob Brown. Part of us getting those easements signed was us saying like, hey, agree to let us do this stuff and we'll help you out. Similar to what we were trying to do at One Bogle Road when we were talking about Valley Trail A-, like, hey, potentially if we wanted to, we could take it, but if you play along and we get these easements signed, then we'll set you up obviously with what it is you want on the property, right? So, you know, when in our discussions with Jacob Brown, there's a planting plan and things like that he's taken a look at and approved. It would be the same thing on the Bears Crossing side. So the easement is signed. We have the easement on the property. We told them like, hey, because you've been so amenable with us, we'd like to help you by providing, you know, the plantings you would like, you know, to border your property as well. So that's what's left with the Bears Crossing piece. And because, you know, like with Jacob Brown, he's one man, right? So like we could just go meet with him and get the thumbs up and everything's okay. On the Bears Crossing side, they're an association. So we would just go and talk to their board, similar to what we did with Jacob Brown. It would just be with their board and not just with Jacob. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's my update on the Ridge parking lot. Okay. Perfect. Moving right along. Spoke to Tommy the other day, Tommy Hathaway. Tom Thumb, who is the person that we decided to help us put the plaque up for Phil up at the town forest there. So he had a minor setback with a bike injury, but he's on it. He was hoping towards the end of this week. So you'll see that plaque going in up there. He's already sketched out on the rock where it's going. He's got all the jig and everything set up to put it in there, but basically he'll be carving out the rocks, setting it in, puttying it, you know, it'll be all sealed and super nice. So that's the final step on the dedication there, and that's going in. So that was my update on that. Any questions there? Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Good meeting. Record time. We'll meet again if needed on July 11th. In the meantime, like I said, you guys know where to find me. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to
Wait.
have conversations with you about what we're working on. Mike.
Yeah, I saw a notice from some kind of wacky Instagram thing that got forwarded to me from SoVTA about a new machine that they've got, and they were announcing that they were going to start working in the Crosstown area. So what is the update on what you're doing in the Crosstown area? Does that have any work planned for Valley Trail sections, or is it? I'm curious as to how that fits into the scheme of things.
I will defer to Tommy there because they have the agreement on the Crosstown Trail. So Tommy, do you have any updates for us there?
Yeah, Mike, that communication is being controlled by Mount Snow, as they're the property owner.
Mhm.
But, basically it's a rehabilitation of the mountain bike loops, Friar Tuck, and those mountain bike loops. Nothing on the Valley Trail or the, is currently being worked on.
Right. I think
And there's
having that information, I think this committee, and we can certainly talk about it, but there's an opportunity perhaps, to improve that Valley Trail section with an organization that has the means, to possibly to take that on, but to improve that section in Dover, like we talked about for years. And I'll throw that out. We can add that as an agenda item at some point.
Okay.
I have a question.
Barbara.
Mike, can you explain to us a little bit about how you're associated with the Valley Trail? Is that a Wilmington group? Like,
Who?
do they have
Me?
a board? Yeah,
Me,
the
Mike, or Tom?
No,
or-
you, Mike Purcell.
Oh, no. I'm not associated with any of the Wilmington group. I just know that for years we talked about improving the section of the Valley Trail that goes through there to connect to the Wilmington border as one of these resources. I mean, the point of having this network that gets you up the hill on Horace Hill to connect you to this crosstown network and the Valley Trail should get you somewhere. But at best, the Valley Trail is a misnomer once you leave Route 100. When you get up off of Crosstown, there's until you see a woman with a jog stroller, on that sort of that section of the Valley Trail, it's really not a really friendly kind of thing for the communities. But again, that I'm not associated with Wilmington per se.
Gotcha. So here's what I want to do, only because this wasn't
yeah.
warned and we didn't
know
make
that.
the addition to the agenda. Okay, we can
Yep.
have this conversation.
Yep.
Let's put it as an agenda item on the next meeting. Everybody okay with that?
No, totally. I didn't mean to.
No,
suggest
no,
we
that's
go
fine.
deep.
We got to sit like we warned the agenda for a reason,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So we can't go.
No,
too
I know.
with it.
I just
All
saw
right.
this last night. Otherwise, if I just saw it this
Gotcha.
last week or something, I'd said, oh, hey, but I just noticed that they were going to do stuff in there and I didn't know what they were doing. Yeah.
Yep, perfect. Okay. Other than that, so sounds like we will have a meeting July 11th. So I will plan on seeing you all then. I'll reach out beforehand to remind you to send agenda items. We will definitely get that one on there. Other than that, everybody, can I have a motion to adjourn? All right, all in favor? Perfect. All right, we'll see you guys next month. Thank you all.